Welcome back. We started off with the PLC, using the Delta WPLSoft. Remember, PLCs are about programming, so it is soft wiring, just a reminder. And then we're going to deal with the hard wiring, the physical wires, a little bit later. All right. For now, let's continue with our PLC wiring, soft wiring, which is programming. So let's program. We again need to remember there's our what? Our icon on the taskbar there. We hit on it, and there is our previous program. Right. This was the toggle type operation, and it was very straightforward. Now let's suppose you have. Let's look at. Let me see if I know my screen is a little bit small. I need to use the other camera for this. Toggle type switches are the switches that you go on, off, on, off. Those are the toggle type switches. We have other switches that you press and release, and normally they are springy. They are springy. You can feel the return when you press them. All right. So those switches can also be used. This is what we use actually for what? For our stop and start there, press and release type switches. All right. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to say, what if this switch here was a spring type switch? What would it mean? Remember with the toggle type switch, I hope you remember how we got here. A quick reminder probably will not hurt. Or rather, let's have people go back and watch the other video if they want to remember how we got here, because otherwise our videos are going to, if you're going to keep going back, then our subsequent videos are going to become extremely long. We don't want that. You can get tired from looking at this ugly face all the time. All right. So now, if you miss this session, just go back and look at that session there. What I'll do is I will remind you that we were talking the switch by simply saying what? Remember, we have to be on the what? On the simulation mode, on run, and online and on run. Then I can set this on. It's toggled on. Our machine is running, whatever that is. Our output is running, and when we toggle off, then our machine goes off. What if we're the type of switch where as long as I'm holding the switch down, it's on, but the moment I release my hand, which is the press and release switch, it goes off. All right. You want now to be able to start a machine, but you don't want to have, it's not a toggle type switch, and once you release it, the switch also releases. You don't want to hold the switch, to press the switch the entire time that the machine is running. So what do? We introduce the concept of latching. All right, so let's show you how this machine can actually, as it is now, there's a direct relationship between the switch and the machine. This machine is only on if the switch is on. Now let's have a scenario where we get out and you say, we don't want that. We want to be able to release our switch and yet our machine stays on. That is the concept of latching. All right, we put on our machine, we take away the power from the switch, and the machine latches on. All right, so let's say if I have, this is a conductor or relay. This is a relay output. So what does it mean? It has contacts. It has contacts. This is the coil. The output is the output coil. But we can have a contact. All I come and do here is let me insert a rung there, insert a row there. Now once I do that, I come and say you are wise. Let's name this different. Let's change this to let's change that there to any output. Let's say it's a light. Okay. Or let's rather call it a machine. Toggle switch was better with the light, but a press and release switch will be better with the machines. Let's say it's machine A. All right. Let's say, okay. Now machine A, once I start, I don't want to use a toggle switch, so let me rather not call this a thing. Let me call it X0. Let me rather call it a start for a machine. And these start push buttons normally release once you let go. All right, once you let go of them, they also discontinue the contact. They actually break. All right. So what you then do is if I have this type of situation, if I now press my machine, let's simulate, there are no problems here. Let's back just to be sure. Obviously no problems here. This is an obvious problem. It's too little. Then you say, okay, let's go and say we're done bagging, no problem. Let's put it online and then let's run it. All right, obviously this is the previous situation. Yes, we confirm that we want to run confirmed. So we come and say this is the previous situation, so nothing has changed. Yes, set on and the machine goes on. But this is a start button. The moment I release that present release switch, machine goes off. That's not acceptable, can it? So we can't have a situation where you have to hold your, you have to press you have to be stuck to the machine. Actually, no, we can't have that. So what we then do is we then say let's latch. So what we do is go back and introduce the rung that we had introduced. Insert that row. Then you say we want an output that is controlled by Y0. If Y0 is on, we want this coil to actually energize another contact. So we'll come and call this contact. Remember I said I can just come here. I can say come here and say I want a normally open contact there, which is going to be controlled by Y0. How do you know it's controlled by Y0? It has to have the same name. It's coming from that same what? That same relay or that same contactor. All right. So now what we then say, we could either, like I said, we could either press that where it takes us straight there. We can decide we want it to be Y0. We can come here and say Y, and it's already 0. And you can see automatically the moment you say Y0, it brings back the comment that we gave them, the name that we gave there. Said it's a machine A, so it says machine A. We could have done that, but remember I said we could also have said what, once we are in the space that we want, we click on that space, not there, on that space, we could come and say, okay, with F1 we can achieve the same. I can say function F1 and I achieve the same. You can see it's the same thing. Now all I have to do is say, no, I don't want the start, I want the machine A. All right, but remember there's the third option of simply saying, again, I have to be in that space. I'm moving away to show you that I'm moving away. Look at the blue box, but I want to be in that space. So what do? I say load. Short for it is LD. Okay, mnemonic for it is LD. So load. Then you say what you want to load, the contact Y0. All right. So if we do that, you will see that I could open the dialog box again. Yes, you can see that it's the same dialog box that you go through. F1, same dialog box that you go through, clicking on the icon. All right. So it's the same thing, but I don't have to do that. I can just type it there. If you can't remember, you can just, let's suppose you don't remember the instruction. Let's say you've opted for the instruction. There are two ways of opening that instruction. I can either just type away. I can't look, I'm here, I want to be there. I can either just type away. I'm just typing LD right now, and it automatically gives you that dialog box there, the dialog box. So, or I could double click on it. If I double click on it, again that dialog box brings up. So it's up to you. It's so user friendly. It's so user friendly. I'm feeling so befriended by this program right now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say, okay, LD. And I'm going to say Y0, and I'm going to say enter, and there is my, what do you realize is struggled? I want it to be struggled across the what? I want it to be an option. I want to start the machine, or I want the machine to hold itself. So O is normally a parallel arrangement. So parallel means I have to bring that line down. So what it means is I've got two paths to the machine to energize the machine. The one part is my start button. The other part is the machine itself, a contact in the machine itself. You will see when you do the practical how this works. I can actually start the machine with this contactor. All right, I don't have to use the start button. I could actually press the contact, press down that Y0 contact on that coil, and this machine will still start. All right. So let's suppose my start button is a problem. I can still start my machine directly by what? By depressing Y0. You'll understand this a little bit more when you get to the what? When you get to see the physical what? The physical components. All right. But in this case, it's a little bit different because this is a PLC. So PLC, if I'm going to want to jumper, I'm going to have to use wires somehow because it's not a contactor exactly. It's an internal relay. All right. It's an internal relay. Yes, you can wire to the output Y0, but you can't energize the coil. The coil is energized by the program. All right, it is the soft wiring aspect. When you say soft wiring, we mean programming. All right, when you say hard wiring, we mean the physical wires. All right, the physical components that you can hold in your hand, the physical wires. All right, so then remember the difference between soft wiring and hard wiring. Now we can then say, okay, let's see what happens now if I want to start. Previously, if I say start, I have to what? Make it, it's good practice to always debug your program, check it for errors. I don't have to run this 100 times. I normally run it only once, all right? But you can run it more times if you really think maybe it might fail to restart or whatever. So you can run it more than once. But typically, I don't know. It's probably because it's bad practice on my part. But honestly speaking, I normally just debug it once, all right? But in any event, I haven't had problems so far. If I maybe in future, if I encounter problems, I might learn to do the better practice. I might, practice makes perfect, right? So now let's go and try to start. I'm going to say, by the way, I'm still on debug, so I have to get out of debug and I have to go and put my PLC online, my program online. Now what's happening? You can see that it's on stop mode, so I have to go and say, put it on the start mode. All right, there's the run mode. Now it's on run mode. Do you want to run? Yes, I want to run. So I'm running now. You can see it's gone green. It's saying on the simulator is on run mode now. So now what I can do is I need to energize him. It's a physical contact. So how do you do that? By putting power, by pressing your switch. Now you can see what happened here. The moment the Y0 energized, because Y0 is the same as that. This is the same component. So when this gets energized, that also gets energized. All right, you can see now that you've got two parts for the power. There's the one part, there's the other part. So because the machine has got a part to itself, I do not need my start anymore. Hence, I can set it off and my machine remains on. This is what we call the latch. We must then remember that I started on an existing program, so I modified an existing program. So what I need to do, I need to save this as something else. So now, what you'll notice here, there's no stopping here. Remember with the toggle switch, it was easy. I could just say on, off, on, off. But if I latch, now I must have a way of stopping. All right, I must have a way of stopping. I'm not going to do that now. All you do now is you start the machine and you can see the machine does not stop. That I want you to understand the concept of latching. I don't want to confuse it with other concepts. So I will stop right there. So this is what you do for me at this point. Tell me where you are on the comment section. Let's get to know who our audience is. Let's get to know how far we are reaching out to people. And please, you can also we'll very much appreciate that. It helps with the algorithm. It makes your life easy when you try to find us. All right, it puts us on top of the peg. All right, in front of the rest. All right, so let's do the liking and let's comment. Rather, tell us where you are, so we also get a picture of who we are assisting. All right, thank you very much. Let's meet when I bring back this one here, but I will show you how to stop once. Because now it looks like this machine is going to run forever. This machine is going to run until Jesus comes, So now we are going to come back and introduce the stop. I want to put the stop on its own for a reason that I will explain when I get to that part. For now, that was simulation. Let's stop. And there's our program. Now let's save it as something else because I don't want to interfere with the other program. Is saved somewhere. So let's save as, and we'll name this basic understanding. Yes. Basic understanding. I will say latch. The latch. Basic understanding. How to latch. The latch. But I've only saved that part. Okay, it still says start, yes, because it's still the same concept. So I will leave it there. All right, thank you. See you next time. Hope you're enjoying. Like and share, and if you're not subscribed yet, please join the family. Sharp.